I'd like to call our meeting to order, please. If you'd stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I have a motion to accept the minutes as presented. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Thank you. Open forum. At this time, we'd like to give our audience an opportunity to ask any questions about this agenda or about operations within the school district. Personnel matters will not be addressed in public session. Comments may be recorded and responded to by the Board of Education or the Superintendent of Schools within 24 to 48 hours. We ask that you introduce yourself to the board, state if you are a district resident, and that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Hearing no takers at this point. If any representative from the Trumansburg Teachers Association would like to share thoughts, opinions, comments on the agenda or the operations within the district, now is your chance to do so. Okay. Extending that same opportunity to support staff members, if you'd like to comment on the agenda or operations within the district, now is an opportunity to do so. All right. Not that this is going to be a strikeout, because now we'll invite the students from the high school to talk to us about their thoughts on students participating in the Board of Education or better communicating with the Board of Education. So I hope that one of you four will stand up and share with us your thoughts. Okay.
Listen, do you have any questions that, like, I haven't really spent a lot of time talking with the kids about your concerns. I just asked our student council advisors to round up some troops to engage in a conversation. So I haven't really laid any groundwork for them in this regard.
Sure. I think one of the concerns that the board has had about past student participation is that when we initially started this, I believe, Douglas, what, 7 years? Longer?
Longer than that, yeah.
It was really initiated at the request of a particular student who was very interested in the political process and local politics, and so was very actively involved. Over the years, that interest and intensity of interest seems to have waned, and the students that have chosen to participate are also students that are heavily engaged in numerous other activities, and so their attendance is then split between those obligations and the board meeting, and it's sort of morphed into simply reporting about whatever student activities in terms of athletics or drama or et cetera are going on in the high school, and often Mr. King ably steps in to do that. But there hasn't been a great deal of communication in terms of students presenting thoughts on what they like about the district, what they don't like about the district, how they think the board could better serve their needs, et cetera, et cetera. And so there was consensus on the board that we wanted to look at maybe changing the process or the way that students are participating and interacting and sharing their thoughts with the board. So if anyone else would like to add anything. So that's sort of what started this dialogue with Mr. King, and then subsequently hopefully with you. Or, if not, then we're all good with that too, I guess.
Well, if I could add, we're also more than willing to change the criteria by which we do this. In other words, according to state education law, there's only a few things we have to adhere to. They're very simple. But the way a student is chosen, or if only one or possibly two, or you could serve for a semester and somebody else does it the next semester, we as a board are interested in hearing what you have to say. And therefore we want to make that a possibility to fit in with what works for you.
And that might mean not even being an ex officio member of the board. It might simply mean having a spot on the agenda every board meeting where any student could come and share thoughts, concerns, or any group could come and share thoughts or concerns or suggestions for improvement. So I think we're very flexible about how we do this, but we are eager to have more student input and hopefully make your experience here more meaningful and more worthwhile and more enjoyable.
And less time consuming.
Yes.
Well, I'll ask the question. I'll ask a question. Looking at this group of kids, the 4 of these kids are all involved with student council, right?
Yeah.
How many of you are also involved in other extracurricular activities? How many of you are involved in a sport? How many of you are involved in multiple sports over the course of the year? Case in point, so we are blessed to have kids that are involved in lots of activities. So I think the idea of, how many of you think that it would be easy to commit 1 night a month or 2 nights a month as an individual to come to a board meeting? Easy?
I think it depends on what season in the sports and what's going on in student council.
Yeah.
Because right now is a really high intensity for all sports and all clubs. They're trying to wrap everything up. Postseason's coming. Oh, postseason's here. ISE starts tomorrow. So it's just the density of our schedule is very high. Our workload is starting to increase as well.
So what if instead we gave student council the mission to, or the invite to filter through student council, someone that could come, we're typically twice a month, to represent the student body if they have an issue that they would like to speak to. And that way there could be flexibility, but there could be one point of organization, which would be through student council. And maybe you can discuss some of the issues at that level first and then bring it to the board. Just throw that out there.
How many students are actually active in student council?
15,
Less like maybe like
10 to 15.
There's 10 people that are there like consistently, that are willing to help out whenever we have activities like going on.
So if we were to come up with a system where you rotated around from that group, like 1 or 2 people that could come to a board meeting? Because the other variable that I would ask the kids to suggest is also the intimidation factor. I mean, this is an intimidating environment. I don't like to speak up sometimes.
Yeah, we are.
Super sweet.
So that idea of having, instead of 1 person come, having 2 people come, then you guys would be able to sort of bounce ideas off of each other and also might feel a little bit more comfortable to contribute to the discussion. Would that be something that you guys think would work?
Yeah, definitely.
Well, I have a question, and that is, we should have asked you this first. Would you find it to be useful to have a voice on the board?
Yeah, I think so. Well, I think I know that in times in the past, whenever there's some sort of something that has to go on that's inside the school, if you actually have a person that's walking around with everyone else, because there's teachers here and there's the principal, but it's not actually someone that's in the student body, and with the student representative you're getting another point of view that not anyone else here can actually deliver to everyone else. So especially on matters that could affect drastically in the school, it would be something that we could actually shed some light on and would help out a little bit with our expertise.
Excellent, because that's the kind of exchange that we would be looking for, to be able to have another constituency or a voice that's easily accessible. And compared to what Kimberly said, could we just build on the fact that it doesn't necessarily have to be somebody on the student council, but could we possibly ask you to sort of see if there's anybody? You have to be either 10th or 11th and 12th grade. If anybody would definitely be interested in doing it, or do a round robin. Just to be able, and I think once you get used to us, we're not really intimidating. And it's really easy to make Mr. Astles blush, so you have to keep that in mind.
Here he goes.
See? Here he is.
Mr. King, I'd like to report an incident of bullying. Another thought, which I'll just throw out, which I have not discussed, it just popped into my head right now. It's, I think, also possible that a board member could come to your student council meeting, and then we would be the ones that would be intimidated, as opposed to you, and it would be within your school day, and therefore not affect, the sort of multiple directions that you're pulled in once you're out of class at 2:45. So that could be another possibility, and certainly an invitation to one of us to attend at the time that you have some pressing concerns or thoughts that you'd like to share with the board. That would be another alternative.
How often does student council meet?
It depends if there's events going on. If, like, right now, there's an event in a week and a half, so we're meeting more frequently, but,
Normally once every other week.
Yeah.
What if you took, I mean, I guess we're kind of throwing ideas out there, but what if you took just this topic back to student council and asked them what ideas your group have for getting more involved at board level, bringing us stuff, or if we bring you information through your meetings, maybe just figure out what's really going to work for you, rotation wise or timing wise. I mean, we could, I guess I would like to hear more your ideas about involvement.
And inspiration around that idea to bring back to student council is the idea that this is one of the only forms in this country of direct democracy. And so it's a really good opportunity for us to start having a back and forth dialogue with elected officials. So it could develop into something really amazing and awesome.
Thank you.
Any other thoughts you'd like to share? So if you would be kind enough to do that and then come back and share with us, or via Mr. King, that would be great. Okay? Thank you very much. We appreciate it. Feel free to excuse yourself if you need to. The rest of these is not terribly exciting at times, so we won't feel the least bit offended. No, Mr. Maglioka, not you. Just the students.
Nice try.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Have a good evening, everyone.
Thank you. Agenda changes? None. Okay. Correspondence. We had a letter from the 8th grade team expressing concern or interest in increasing, I think, our library media specialist position. And I think Superintendent has responded to that?
I have addressed to numerous people in the middle school, informing them of the budget process and where we stand currently. I think there was initially some misunderstanding that we were reducing the library media specialist in the middle school. That will continue on as it has for the past several years as a split position between the elementary and the middle school. Both our high school principal and our middle school principal spent a significant amount of time on Monday and on Tuesday looking at master scheduling. So we're looking at district-wide resources and reallocation of staff across the district, paying careful attention to certification areas. So at this time, it's premature to say if we'll have any changes within the library assignments, but we are looking at it carefully and certainly taking into consideration what's best for our students. So at this point, we're not sharing any information. We haven't made any final decisions.
Thank you.
Thank you. Committee reports, policy committee? I see we have a number of first readings for board policies that are listed. I wondered if you could just shed some light on if there's major changes to any of those, or?
No, there are not major changes. In fact, a number of these, and you're going to continue to see a number like this that are actually, they've been approved, but they've been approved more than 5, 6, sometimes 8 years ago. What we're trying to do is to be able to take a look at the policies that have not been reviewed since 2009. And at Kimberly's suggestion, what we do is send them to Erie BOCES and ask, have there been any revisions? Is there anything different? And if they're not, then at least the board has put their eyes on a policy, and it doesn't surprise us if we were to have to use it. So, although a couple of these did have revisions. In fact, one of them, medication and personal care items, we've actually, that was revised to 617, I think, so they've come up with, but again, the changes are not major. A lot of it is tidying up the language, making it more precise, easier to understand. And, all right, I think there was, what was the one thing for the medication? Was it just the addition of suntan
Just,
lotion?
yeah,
Just the addition of, what did you say?
suntan lotion.
Suntan lotion?
Oh, right,
Yeah.
right, yeah. So that's also considered an over-the-counter medication, which students are, I can't remember the exact language that was cited in here, but it's an improvement to the existing policy.
Do we need to come back to these at the next meeting, or are the changes so superficial that we can approve them now?
I don't think all the changes are superficial,
Okay.
so I think it might be a good idea to give people an opportunity to be able to at least review them, take a look at them.
Okay.
Yes.
All right, then may I have a motion to accept the policies as presented for a first reading?
So moved.
Second? So I got us a little out of order because we've already had a discussion. Any further discussion on that? So we'll come back and look at these for approval or changes at our next board meeting. Thank you. Douglas, BOCES and Central New York School Boards Association report?
Let's see.
Oh, I'm sorry. So, yes, thank you very much. Michelle. So, those in favor of accepting these as a first reading?
We better.
Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Thank you. Now, Douglas,
Okay.
Central New York School Boards or BOCES report?
Both, a little bit. New board training for Central New York. New school board members will be held Wednesday, June 6th from 6 to 9 and Saturday, June 9th, same time. And I just talked with the office and they will be sending your information to you very shortly, applications and such. And I suppose you should know to register with Tina for that. Watch for CNYSBA membership surveys in May. They'll be coming out toward the end of the month, and if you would be kind enough to fill them out and get them back, that would be helpful. Or maybe we could pass them to Tina and she could ship them out. MACNY, the Manufacturers Association of Central New York. The board is in the process of setting up apprenticeship programs in manufacture, with manufacturers and some of their members. So that, in addition to all of the PTAC, is coming our way. May 30th at Welsh Allen will be the annual meeting, and our speaker is Grant Lichtman, who's very well known for his role in addressing what changes schools really need to make to be in line with the jobs of the future and to have our kids able to approach the jobs of the future. So that is May 30th. Central New York is now being included in MACNY staff meetings, and together they are working on a community foundation grant which would possibly affect all of us in terms of apprenticeship programs. For current members, Wednesday, May 30th is the 36th annual meeting, as I said, from 5:30 to 9. It's at Welsh Allen, the lodge at Welsh Allen in Skinny Atlas, and it's 50 smacks a person. But as I said, Lichtman is really quite hot right now, and he has some very interesting thoughts on where we need to be, how we need to be focusing our students' thoughts. And that's it for that. And then for BOCES, the only thing I really wanted to report on was that something that really took me by surprise. I didn't know anything about it, but South Seneca, as you know, is a school in need. And they applied maybe 3 years ago, I think it was, for an extended day violence prevention grant, which covers K through, I think it's 8, after school. And the goals are as follows: academic assistance to promote student independence, confidence, and increase academic skills; inquiry-based activities to promote academic growth; use of the gym, indoor and outdoor venues for organized physical, group, and individual games and activities to promote social, emotional, and physical growth. It also provides a resource officer to assist with a safe environment, and providing healthy snacks to promote good health and nutrition. The program has just exploded. The first year, I don't remember exactly what the enrollment was. It was around 30, and I think it's up to 52 now. It's very popular. They do fitness, Spanish, art, culture, ELA, math tutoring, book club, 4-H, sewing and such, ELA, and again, more math tutoring, science and social studies tutoring, book club, fitness, Spanish, 4-H STEM, drum ensemble, sewing, math, science and social studies, and social studies tutoring if needed. It also includes trips to expose the kids to, say, horses, cows, farms. They take them all over the place in buses. It's a marvelous program, and they are doing a terrific job with it. It's very exciting. I was really pleased.
Is BOCES in the process of helping any other district acquire such a grant?
That isn't BOCES. I'm
Oh.
sorry. That was the first thing I should have said. It's a federal grant.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
I'm sorry.
My fault.
Anything from
So-
BOCES?
Yes, I think maybe from BOCES I'll just pass around material if that's okay.
Yeah.
Here you go. And of course that was from BOCES. The grant.
Any questions for Douglas? Okay, hearing none. Student report, Mr. King?
I'll save all of everything that I have for my administrative report. I have
Okay.
a few things, but the student report would basically be that it's IAC championship season and sectional season. Boys baseball team I'm looking at Mrs. Lincoln. They've had a game this afternoon. Do you know how they're doing?
I was there for the whole thing, and they lost by 1 point.
Oh,
Or one run.
one run.
And the IAC track meet will be here on campus tomorrow and Friday. It's an all-afternoon event.
That's why buses in and out.
So you will see 1,000 buses and cars
Yes.
around campus tomorrow and Friday.
Well, I actually reversed the order, so administrative
Okay.
report is next.
I just have a couple of quick things that I can share. The first is my annual update on TC3 credit. I printed out the latest variation of the same graph that I share every year that shows the amount of credit that our students are earning in TC3. 80% of our senior class is graduating with some form of college credit. The minimum being 3 credits, the maximum. We have one senior who's graduating with 65 college credits this year. He is an extraordinary example. In his case, he's actually signed up to take a number of additional classes that, not through us, but by going to TC3, mainly because he is a student who is interested in majoring in cybersecurity and computer science. So he sought
Can you say
out
his name? That's pretty impressive.
Keegan Moore. So Keegan has gone way out of his way to seek additional computer science courses that we just aren't able to offer with our existing staff. The cool thing, though, is that he found out that one of the courses he was taking, one of his classmates was his math teacher here at our school, who is seeking additional training in computer science so that he can start to offer more computer science classes here in our program. So it's kind of a cool parallel. But yeah, Scott Voorhees has been taking some additional coursework at TC3 in computer science to learn a little bit more programming to enhance our program offerings. So yeah, it's the graph. You'll see that the increase was in our students that earned over 45 credits. The summary for the group that's not looking at these, I will just share that we had 80% of our high school seniors this year earning some college credit. 44% of the senior class will graduate with at least one semester's worth of college under their belt already. 21% will have a full year of credit, and 11% will have over 45 credits, which is essentially a year and a half of college credit. And then Keegan, who's going to be starting college as a junior. So.
As a junior?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well, not technically. He's, because of the major that he's going into, he'll still have to put in more years, but.
It would be cool to start collecting information about the classes they took, and I know this is so much work that just saying it is not going to make it happen, but the courses that, the credit that they took, the major in school that their college are going into, and how much actually transferred.
It is, I will share anecdotally that it's all over the place.
Yeah.
There isn't a consistent theme, because in part it depends on where you go. It depends on what you major in. My daughter's going to a SUNY school, so a lot of those credits will transfer because they will take them, but then because she's an engineering major, they'll still probably make her take their physics, their calculus, just because.
But
if you're going to a private school, a lot of times they won't take the credit.
Totally. But if the counselors know anecdotally that information about, they could say, well, oh, you're looking at this school, well, I know that they might accept this credit sometimes.
Is it yours?
It's that's so much work to collect that information.
Yeah.
And it's all anecdotal because you're not going to ever get back something directly from the college saying that, yes, we accepted this. So just be through the students that you collect that information.
The clearinghouse does collect a significant amount of data about students' enrollment in school, their success in school, their progress through the program. I could share, if you wanted to, maybe over the summer I could do a report on some of the college outcomes for our students, because we do track, or the clearinghouse tracks what happens to our kids when they graduate. That if they've enrolled in a college program, if they are successful in moving forward, it tracks kids that enroll in college for the first time after 1 year, 2 years, 3 years after graduating from high school. They share the percentage of our high school classes that are graduating with some kind of credential from college. It's very interesting. We average, and I'm pretty confident that we average about high 60s, about 70% of our students will successfully complete within 6 years a college credential. But that isn't necessarily contingent on this. This is just saying where you're set up to go. But.
Great. Questions for John?
I also do want to just quickly share one other thing. This is probably could have gone in the student report or could have gone in my report, but I was very proud earlier this week, or the end of last week, we had Jane George has a class called Global Humanism that has, the group went to the United Nations earlier this year, and then just last week they presented, and one of our students served as the chairperson for a international conference call that Trumansburg's High School were the only students from the United States participating in this program, but there were students from India, Georgia, the country Georgia, the Philippines, and then the United Nations headquarters facilitated a conference call. One of our students, Georgia Mahalki, served as provided opening remarks and served as the chairperson for this conference call, where they were talking about the youth plan of action working with a woman from Sri Lanka. So I just walked in and, you know, watched for a little while, took a couple of pictures, but it was amazing to see our students interacting with kids from all over the world. And this is the kind of thing that does happen in our school. So it was a very proud moment for the principal, and it was just a really cool thing to see our kids doing. So I just wanted to share. I have the agenda from that program. I can share that later if folks would like to take a look at it. So.
John, a quick question. Notice that the percentages of students that are earning college credits has been increasing since 2011, and do we know why? And can we keep doing it?
We have made a concerted effort to add additional courses to our curriculum. I know within the last 2 years, I know Jim Perkins added a couple of our tech courses, got them aligned with the syllabi that TC3 has. So CAD now gets TC3 credit. DDP, which is actually a freshman course, is getting college credit. We added AP Art is now getting college credit. The AP Music Theory has been added within the last 2 years. I know that my foreign language teachers are planning to do a summer project this year to align level 4 languages with TC3 credits so that our students can get college credit for their working languages. So I shared, I think 2 years ago, where we were at, and I believe we actually offer almost 80 credits that kids could take if they took absolutely everything that we offer, which would be crazy. But there's almost 80 credits worth of college courses being offered in our high school program. And we far exceed anybody else in our region in this regard. It's been something that we've made a concerted effort, especially the last 2 years, to add additional courses. But we've already, when I got here, we were already doing a lot, so I won't take credit for it. We've got a strong program in that regard.
John, is there any effort being made to sort of channel or consolidate those offerings so that a student is working towards either an associate's degree or an applied associate's degree?
Yes, we met with Victoria Zeppelin again last year, 2 years ago, and that's where the efforts have come to add additional coursework. Even with that meeting, again, that was 2 years ago, but we went through and looked at our course catalog with Victoria Zeppelin, who's the director of the College Now program, and we looked at what areas we would need to add, and that's where we added some. That's the languages is one of the last things that we needed to add. And conceptually, our students will be very, very close. They'll still end up having to take 1 or 2 classes on the campus at TC3 or online, but it is conceivable that we will see more students getting an associate's degree. But you have the challenge is that you have to want to take all of those classes. Right. There are some students that will really specifically say, no, I really want to get an associate's degree. And if that's what you want to do, you certainly will be able to do that. The problem is that the students tend to take the courses that they're interested in because they know they're going on for another degree later. So instead of sort of forcing themselves to take something just because it's a college credit, they'll take a course that maybe isn't college credit because it's an area of interest. So it's something that our counselors talk with kids about.
John, is it a liberal arts degree? Is that?
Yeah.
Okay.
That would be the general associates.
Is that the only pathway? Are there other pathways that?
Not that we wouldn't be able to provide enough coursework in any one content area in order to get a specific degree. You have to offer like 20 or 30 credits in a single content, and we can't do that. We'd have to expand our electives like tenfold in our content areas. But kids can take courses at TC3 if they're interested in them. That's the cool thing is that they've expanded their online offerings. Again, Keegan is a perfect example because Keegan was a kid who wanted to get computer science. We don't offer a lot of computer science. We have one course that's a very introductory course. He went out and sought a significant number of course credits in computer science in order to earn what he's getting. But
great. Yeah, absolutely. Any other questions for John? Thank you, John, very much. That's great news. I have, first of all, are there any items from the consent agenda that people or members would like pulled for individual discussion?
No.
Yes, okay. And that would be?
Okay.
Okay. Extracurricular activities fund?
No, Jen's birthday.
Okay, and, okay.
Oh,
we'll
I'm
pull
looking at the
N.
old one, sorry.
Okay, no problem. Any others? Okay, so, pardon? So that is K? All right. With, then, may I have a motion to accept the consent agenda as presented with the exceptions of items K and N? Okay. Those in favor? Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. Okay. I have a motion for the acceptance of the extracurricular activities to be funded for the 2018-19 school year. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby approves the following extracurricular activities to be funded for the 2018-19 school year. I have a motion.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion or questions?
So I just wanted to bring up, I know that we had some correspondence regarding the cheerleading, and I just wanted to address that within this approval, and to see what we need or what we're missing at this time.
So John can also speak to this. So several years ago, it's definitely been in my time here, maybe 5 years ago, during a time of fiscal distress, we looked at the number of students that were participating in various athletic programs. Unfortunately, wrestling and cheerleading both did not have the numbers to continue supporting hiring a coach for those two athletic programs. I believe that continues to be the case.
Yeah. I've worked with some of the community members that are trying to build up support for the program, and they're working really hard to try to get interest. And there are, if you see that they've built it kind of as a club or through the community rec program. A lot of it is through the T-Bird youth football program and youth cheerleading, and they've gotten interest at the younger levels, but there hasn't been the ability to sustain a high enough interest of students at the high school level. Like the club team right now, I think there's 2 high school kids that are participating, but then they have 10 or 12 middle school age kids that are participating. So if the interest was there, I think we would be here making a stronger case, but there just hasn't been enough interest at the high school level to support it being a varsity program.
True of wrestling as well.
Yeah, same thing is true of wrestling, because I know I had at least one parent who I've spoken to about an interest in bringing wrestling back. But in order to start anything, you have to have a contingent of kids who are standing behind you saying, yes, we want to do this. Mm-hmm. And you have to be able to sustain those numbers to make it work. The same thing happened, and I'll just, the sidebar is this, is that, even some of the sports lost junior varsity programs. We went to the Mod A Pro system. We used to have varsity, junior varsity, and modified, but we didn't have the numbers to sustain 3 teams. So that's where some of the programs have gotten smaller. And that tends to be happening across the region. The great thing is that we have tons of kids involved in our extracurricular activities. If you saw, like these guys, we average more than half of the school involved in sports every season. So out of a school with just over 300 kids, we have 150 kids in sports each season. It's just that it's not enough to sustain all of this, like additional sports. We just wouldn't be able to. If we added another sport, we'd probably lose another one.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
Any other questions or discussion regarding this motion? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. And then may I have a motion for approval of the New York State and local retirement system standard workdays for the Trumansburg Central School District support staff employees. Be it resolved that the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District, location code 75000, hereby establishes the following as standard workdays for its employees and will report days worked to the New York State and local employees retirement system based on the timekeeping system or the record of activities maintained and submitted by these members to the clerk of the body. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Discussion.
My question about this was how these standard work days, how those numbers are generated.
So these are the hours that we set as a standard for a full-time employee for these positions, keeping in mind that that's the maximum. So I'll bring your attention to, I think bus drivers are the ones that I looked at. So the standard workday is set at 6, which is typically the maximum. However, most of our drivers are running at 3.5, 4, or any variation up to that. So this is what constitutes a full-time employee.
You can't go lower than 6, right?
Yeah, you can go
But you
lower
can.
than 6, and we do go lower.
For these standard work days.
Oh, right. These are
6 to
full-time.
8?
That's correct.
Right, okay. That's all.
Okay. Anyone else have any other questions regarding this item? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. On to new business. May I have a motion for the acceptance of the 2018-19 annual budget vote results? Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby accepts the annual budget vote results as presented. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
I just share those with you if you have not already heard them. The 2018-19 budget, 400 yes, 238 no. Proposition for purchase of school buses, 492 yes, 146 no. Ulysses Philomathic Library, 454 yes, 182 no. For seats on the Board of Education, Pat Masters, 377. Scott Sherwood, 396 votes. Those were the two high vote getters. And Michael Hunter, 367. So congratulations, I think, to Pat and Scott. And our thanks to Michael Hunter for expressing his interest and efforts to help our school district and run for the board. So congratulations to you two gentlemen. We look forward to you joining the board in July. Questions or discussion on results or that? Hearing none, those in favor of accepting? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries. I have a motion for the authorization to increase appropriated budget. Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the superintendent of schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby authorizes an increase to the appropriated budget in the amount of $48,203. This amount of increase to the general fund budget will offset special education expenses. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Obvious, this is for this.
So what is it, right?
Well, what is it, and it's for this current budget?
That's true, and what this is actually an insurance revenue that we received, so a revenue stream increased, and as you know from our budget presentation, special education overspent that budget, so this will offset a small portion of that expense, so we're raising the appropriated budget and using that revenue to offset our expenses.
And we're able to increase the appropriated budget because this is a
Because it's an
revenue
increase in
stream
revenue.
outside of the school district.
Tax base.
The tax base.
And state aid,
And
correct.
state, okay. Any other questions? Hearing none? Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstentions? Motion carries.
Okay, well, my question is,
Oh, okay.
I
Sorry.
that's all right. It doesn't, I feel like I've never seen this before. And then,
Increase the appropriated budget?
I copied the numbers from previous meetings.
Yeah.
because we would do that every
Yeah,
time?
where you would have seen it in the past is we would increase the appropriated budget by the amount that we take out of the reserve to offset the expense of our buses.
Right.
So our bus expense was never in the general fund line, so, you know, if we took 300,000 out of a reserve, out of our capital reserve, we would come to the board and say, we're going to increase the appropriated budget and making up numbers by 300,000, and it's a complete, I don't want to say wash, but wash, because the money comes from the reserve, therefore you can increase what you're spending.
Great, thank you. May I have a motion for the acceptance of donation? Be it resolved that upon the recommendation of the Superintendent of Schools, the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District hereby accepts the donation from the Trumansburg High School Drama Club in the amount of $715.43 to purchase a Chevelle DJ-12 WLEP follow spot spotlight with stand for use in the high school auditorium. Motion?
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Questions or discussion?
Who donated this?
Rather buying it.
Oh, the
With the
drama club.
donation, yes.
Drama Club received a donation from, is it Rotary?
Yeah, that's missing who actually donated.
Well, but
this.
the Drama Club got a donation to their account.
And
They're donating the money to us to buy so that the spotlight actually will belong to the school and will remain in our auditorium.
Right.
So,
Well, thanks whoever donated the actual
Yes.
money.
Money, yes.
Rotary, maybe.
Thank you. Questions or comments? Hearing none, those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries. I have a motion for the authorization to sign an agreement for the Superintendent of Schools. Be it resolved that the Board of Education for the Trumansburg Central School District authorizes the President of the Board of Education to sign an agreement with Kimberly Bell for the Superintendent of Schools commencing March 1st, 2018 and continuing through June 30th, 2021.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, questions, discussion? Oh, I'm sorry. I'm just excited that it got to this point. Those in favor? Aye. Opposed? Abstention? Motion carries unanimously with enthusiasm. Ooh, okay. All right, open forum. At this time, we would again like to give our audience an opportunity to ask any questions about this agenda or about operations within the school district. Personnel matters will not be addressed in public. Comments may be recorded and responded to by the Board of Education or the superintendent within 24 to 48 hours. We ask that you introduce yourself to the board, state if you are a district resident, and that you keep your comments to 5 minutes or less. Hearing none. Moving on to board forum. All right.
We already put that up.
We have already discussed Board of Education student participation. Any other topics that the board would like to bring to the group's attention or remind us to act on?
Evaluation of the board, of our work as a board.
Board. Right. So you had sent us, I think you had sent us a link, Diane, from that was a board self-evaluation from New York State School Boards Association.
Simple,
Right.
straightforward.
Yeah, very. So how do you have a suggestion as how you like us to proceed on that?
A lot of the information would have been measured had we suggested at the beginning of the year what we intended to
Okay.
do. So at this point, it makes sense to do that moving forward and include the new board members with
Okay.
their ideas.
So adopt that as part of our annual meeting when we meet the first part of July.
Correct.
And
Yeah. And
Okay.
Joanne and I were talking about taking a look at what we have done and measure that anecdotally, just within a meeting within the board.
What we've
Great.
learned,
Right.
what we can improve on in the future, or next year, near future.
Yeah. So are you suggesting a retreat that which does
We were
it.
definitely thinking about, we were just talking about a retreat with the new board members.
Oh, okay.
During the summertime. And it would basically cover, from that tool, the objectives that we would lay out for the year, our strengths and weaknesses, and how we would communicate with each other better. So just an extra step from what we did last year. Last year was more of an introduction that we took.
I would suggest that if possible that we meet as a group because we're losing
Right.
two members off the boards
With lots
that.
of experience.
Yeah, that would certainly have both a lot of experience and perspectives that they could offer in terms of how we've successfully conducted ourselves this year, suggestions for improvement, et cetera. So I think maybe as a group, if we could be trying to think of a date or a time that we could do that, then I can maybe ask Tina to send out a.
Sooner than later.
Sooner than later.
Books up in the summer,
Yeah.
for sure.
Well, we need, truthfully, probably before Douglas and Michelle go off the board, I would think,
Before June.
and that, so, if we can offer a couple dates and then. Okay.
Well, even if it was in July.
No.
Are you
Douglas, would
thinking
you be
of,
willing to meet in July?
of daytime or
Like,
evening?
Ooh.
Around in July?
I think I will be around after, probably after the 5th of July. Yes.
So just to increase our options and to make it more convenient within the term realm of as God. Dutiful?
I'm here to doodle.
All right.
You'll come up.
Any other questions, comments, thoughts that the board would like to share with fellow members?
I would just like to thank the community for the passing of our budget, which is wonderful. You know, by far, we passed it, and I just think I just want to thank the community for what they've done and passing the vote, and it's important. You know, it's important that people get out there. It's important that people don't expect other people to get out there and vote for them. So I think it's a good number. Not the highest number that we've had, but it's shows support of what we're doing.
Yeah.
So I just want to thank them.
You beat me to the punch, but I echo those sentiments. Thank you very much. Anyone else? Hearing none, may I have a motion to adjourn to executive session for matters relating to the appointment, promotion of a particular person, persons, or corporation? Great. Those in favor? Aye. We're adjourned to executive session. We will not be returning later to conduct business. So we'll adjourn from executive session. Thank you very much.